Hey guys, welcome back. So I wanted to revisit Happy Period and expand upon things that we've talked about and talk a little bit specifically about what's going on here in the Bay Area, and also honestly just shoot a video in proper lighting, which, I owe you that much. I normally film upstairs. I tend to film at night just because of my schedule, but opportunity presented itself to film this in the light of day. So not only is that shitty for my skin and horrible for you guys watching, but it is a good metaphor to kind of shine a light on stuff that some of us don't know about, a lot of us don't know about, and just have a little bit of a larger conversation about menstrual equity, access to menstrual hygiene, and I'd like to talk specifically about what's going on here in the Bay Area. So I will start at the very beginning and talk about what the organization is. So hashtag Happy Period, the website is hashtag spelled out, happyperiod.org, is a nonprofit that was founded by Chelsea Von Chaz in 2014. She was at the time a stylist for celebrities. She was walking downtown through Skid Row, and she did have the epiphany of, wait a second, what are these women doing when they're bleeding? They're homeless and they're bleeding. And that was the catalyst for her starting this 501(c)(3). It's a question that really shook me and my partner, Jordan, who helped me start our chapter here in the Bay Area back in 2016. It really shook us because I think for most people, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for most people, when you think about the homeless, you think about food and shelter. At least that's what I did. And then the conversation, whether it's with somebody else or with yourself, essentially stops. Do they have food? Do they have a roof over their head? I was really taken aback as somebody who counts themselves as a feminist, who was the only reason I found out about Happy Period is because I was looking for content to post on a women's group, a private women's group that I had started on Facebook. I was taken aback by the fact that it had never crossed my mind at that time, at 33 years old, what a homeless woman does when she's bleeding. The question had never entered my mind. And I think that's a problem, and B, it's also a solution, because once you have that question posed to you and you have to ask and answer it, you can begin to start to pay attention to what's going on around you and how important this issue is and how unaddressed it is. So I was looking for content to post for my women's group on Facebook, and I found this article about Chelsea. Ran next door to one of my best friends and my partner in crime. She helped me found the Bay Area chapter of Happy Period in 2016. And I said, wait a second, we're sitting here, we're drinking, 2 bottles a night, we're filming, the YouTube content that you know and love today with our sing-songs and our what'd you says and our 36 questions. So I'll link all of that with the info cards. But we didn't even realize that in our commiseration that we had not been paying attention. As soon as we realized that this was a question that needed an answer or needed just awareness around it, we were like, holy shit, we cannot believe that we have not even, it hadn't even crossed our minds. So quite literally, I don't know if it was that night or the next day, we emailed Chelsea and we said, do you have any type of presence in the Bay Area? If not, we would love to start something. She said no. We said, okay, what do we do? She said, here's some bullet points, but essentially figure it out. And we did. We started in 2016 right here in our backyard in Oakland, California, and invited everyone we knew to bring pads, tampons, underwears, baby wipes, panty liners, soap, whatever, and have a period packing party. And that's what we did. We had our first event in 2016, the summer of, and we called it Plug It Up. and I think maybe 40 or 50 folks showed up throughout the evening. They brought said supplies, and over the course of the next week, we began to break down that inventory and package it into, sorry, I'm filming for 2 cameras, and break down that inventory and package it into individual kits. And I'll get to what that looks like in a second. But the idea behind Chelsea's vision for this particular menstrual equity, menstrual access to menstrual hygiene mission is that you do hand-to-hand distribution. You hit the streets, so to speak. Let's now take a pause and address why you wouldn't just go donate to a shelter, or why you would do both and. There are a million reasons why a homeless person would choose not to go to a homeless shelter. Number one, there's a lot of drugs in homeless shelters, and being the child of a fully recovered addict, praise be, subscribe to Let's Dish with Linda Lou on YouTube. There are drugs in shelters, there are drugs in recovery homes. Not to say that there aren't drugs on the streets, but point being, there are reasons why somebody would choose not to go to a shelter. Number two, shelters don't get these items as much as they need to be getting these items. Again, for most of us, we think of shelter and we think of food, right? Like you're having a homeless drive, canned goods, right? You don't think of pads, you don't think of tampons. Well, whatever they do get goes very quickly. So you have a lot of variables going on as to why she chose to have period packing parties and then hand-to-hand distribution. Putting a month's supply of menstrual hygiene products in the hand of a menstruator provides them at least a month's worth of peace of mind, dignity, and the fear of being, the freedom of being, how do I want to articulate this? To be free of the fear of being arrested. A lot of women, a lot of menstruators have to choose between food and hygiene when it comes to those 5 to 7, 10 days out of the month. Are you going to risk shoplifting tampons or pads and risk going to jail? Or are you going to risk shoplifting food? You know, the fact that you have to make that impossible choice to begin with is a discussion for another video. By putting these products directly in the hands of a homeless menstruator or an underserved menstruator, you are making sure that they don't have to be faced with that impossible choice, at least for that 1 month. That's at the bare minimum. They have some wipes, they have some pads, they have some tampons, hopefully a pair of clean underwear, maybe some soap. The bare minimum to maintain your dignity, to maintain your hygiene. And that's bare bones what Happy Period is about. And Happy Period is by no means the only nonprofit organization doing this type of work. Not only has this gone international in terms of awareness, I'd recommend you check out Menstrual Health Hub on Facebook and or Instagram. They're doing amazing work in terms of education and awareness around this internationally, particularly in Africa. But there are so many organizations and nonprofits doing similar work. Dignity Matters comes to mind. There are a plethora. Just Google it and you will see what is most near to your hometown and nearest to, you know, what speaks to you. Having said that, being 4.5 years removed from the initial inception of the Bay Area chapter, I have been fortunate enough to become a community manager, which means essentially not only have I worked to help grow the Bay Area chapter beyond just having period packing parties in Oakland, but we've expanded to San Francisco, to Berkeley, to Pleasanton, to the University of Berkeley. on campus and as an actual organization on campus. So we have been supporting the three main areas of the Bay Area and some of the surrounding areas. What has happened in my becoming a community manager is I've been able to help solicit and support folks that want to start their own chapters, and we've grown from 7 chapters to over 40 nationwide, grassroots, people hosting period packing parties, whether it be at their home, their churches, their schools, their places of business, community centers, getting the community engaged and aware of this issue, and from there distributing directly to their community. Now again, that also means supporting your shelters, your sober living homes, your domestic violence shelters. It doesn't mean not supporting them with your inventory, but it means making sure that if you're in a metropolitan area like New York, LA, Miami, the Bay Area, and many others, even rural areas that you wouldn't think were dealing with this issue, trust and believe they are, to go hit the streets, get your friends in a couple of cars, divide up into teams, and go and look where there might be encampments, look to where folks gather, and, say, hey, we're out here for the menstruators or the ladies today. May we offer you such and such? And give them that month's worth of peace of mind, that month's worth of freedom, that month's worth of dignity. That's where it starts. To think about what a woman deals with or a menstruator deals with when they're in pain is an entirely different conversation. That's something that we are working to resolve, because it's not exactly appropriate to give out over-the-counter medicine on the street, but it's something that you have to think about. It's like, I think about the worst, and I have really bad cramps. I have since I was in 6th grade. I've had ovarian cyst ruptures. I don't even want to imagine what somebody's dealing with when it's freezing cold out or it's 99 degrees out, and not only are you in the worst pain of your life, but you literally have nowhere to go. You can't sit. Every time you try and sit, somebody is shooing you away or you're at risk of arrest. I can't imagine. So I encourage you guys to put yourself in that frame of mind, especially if you're a female, especially if you're somebody that bleeds and has experienced what cramps are. Put yourself in that frame of mind and put yourself in that position of the worst pain you've ever felt, and imagine you can't sit down. Imagine there is no reprieve. I think that's really the headspace that we need to get into when we start to have this conversation. So that's how I got involved. That's what #happyperiod.org is about. It's very grassroots. We have some amazing things on the horizons. We're expanding beyond just period packing parties. So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike to help serve the homeless and underserved on a greater scale. But whatever community you come from, whether there are people physically on the street, in encampments, like there are in major metropolitan areas like the Bay Area, LA, New York, and some others, there's still women, there are still menstruators that need access to this, free access to this, and you can do something as simple as hosting a period packing party and giving to your local shelters, your food banks, your sober living homes, because those exist, domestic violence shelters, those exist in every community. So whether or not there's, people on the street visibly that you can see, this is a problem everywhere. Get involved, figure out who's doing the work in your area, what mission speaks to you. If it doesn't exist, create it. Do not ask for permission, do not wait. Host a period packing party, make some flyers, get on Facebook, get on Instagram, say, this is an issue, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna bring pads, tampons, panty liners, baby wipes, dental hygiene, soap, clean underwear, new underwear. We're going to assemble them into individual kits, and we're going to either hit the streets and or give them to local shelters and or providers that can parse them out as they see fit. just get out there and do it, because I cannot express to you how it confounds me living in the Bay Area, coming from Orlando, where there are some people on the street for sure, and more so now than when I left in 2012. Yes, there are homeless people on the street, but can I walk out my front door, look under the overpass, which is literally 3 doors down,